and animal husbandry. The greatest danger for the country, incidentally, is for the young people to shun the core activity, the core economic activity of the citizens. That is agriculture. It's a danger because when you are young, you've got the energy, you're filled with ideas, you're brave. But then people want to resort to farming when they are old. You may not make it when you start a project at 70 years of age. Never say I didn't tell you. The message that my colleagues and I constantly gave was that prosperity was only realizable after hard work. There are no two ways about this. And that message seemed to make an impression. So we regularly heard and still hear young people say, Kabaka yatuma Katikiro atugambe tukole nnyo. Some of you may have heard this message. Maybe you hear them even now. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what takes me to the second memorable impact. Yes? If you want to clap, let us hear you applaud. After 3 years of the campaign, the total campaign, we have traversed near all corners of the kingdom and a number of other parts of Uganda. We traveled to Europe and America as well, because we felt that the messages we gave applied to those in the diaspora as well. However, one of the obvious observations as we visited villages, townships, and outposts was poverty. In one village, which I will not name, I encountered a mother whose gomez was converted into a blanket to cover her children at night. True story. So when I would go to the villages, I would talk to people. You know, when you are living, you talk to someone. You learn a lot when you do that. And the woman told me she was facing difficulties and that she was using her garments to cover her children at night. Hard to believe, but it exists. It happens. And you also notice the good number of men are rising out of idleness, hence resorting to the bottle. You know, the dangerous stuff they take in the villages. It was clear to my team and I that something needed to be done to fight poverty. Poverty is the source of so many other negative tendencies. I don't know whether people who work in Airtel know that the reason people produce so many kids is poverty. I don't know whether you know that.
We don't know.
Some people are saying yes. You see, in the villages, especially around the equator, which is very fertile land, people work for 2-3 hours and they can support their families. That's enough to support your family. Good. The rest of the time is idle. So you go to Beredene's outlet. You know the Beredene's? You go to Beredene's outlet. For some talks of the bitter ones. And you come back home. There is no electricity. It's dark. You're bored to death. Sex is therapeutic. And what comes from sex are babies. I was telling the European ambassadors, they came to pay courtesy call, and they were asking questions about birth control. They are worried that we are producing too many kids. And I told them, if you want us to produce less kids, make sure we fight poverty meaningfully. I mean, if a guy works in the shamba, he's got 5 acres of coffee, he's harvesting coffee, he's taking coffee to the store, he comes back home, he's tired, he's going to be sleeping, right? How do you produce babies when you're snoring? And yes, they might have TV in the house. They watch some programs on PBS Televina. And you know, you doze as you watch TV and you go to sleep. But when you're poor, sex is a good pastime. But also rich people indulge in it. I understand that. So one time during a meeting with Sabasanja Kabaka, we talked about coffee. I will tell him what I was observing in the tours during the Topard campaign. In any case, the Katikiro must regularly brief the king about the goings on in the kingdom. Anyway, so we talked about coffee, and he said that it was coffee and cotton to a less extent that sought the development of Uganda and Uganda. Families depended on coffee, an independence gift. That's a lie. They used the reserves from the colonial state, the money they had gotten from cotton and cotton. It wasn't a gift, it was our money. But they built it as we got independence. And they used the revenue from coffee to extend social services, education, community development. So after that meeting I had with the king, it was like I'd just been given a blueprint regarding tackling poverty in the kingdom. And while the king talked about the benefits of growing coffee, I recall the coffee chambers that my father and mother tended. They had coffee chambers. And to say that I and my siblings benefited a lot from coffee as I grew up is an understatement. My father was a teacher, but he augmented his income by growing coffee to quite impressive acreages. I don't know whether you know this, but coffee was always here even before the British came. I don't know whether you know it. But it was used as a brotherhood binder. If I and Menage wanted to become brothers, they would cut his navel, get a coffee bean, smear it with his blood, and I eat it and swallow it. It will be done to me as well. You smear the bean, my blood, chew it and swallow it. Then we become blood brothers, like blood brothers. We had coffee. It was also used for refreshing our mouths. Do you know that? The way we use meat these days. Think about it. When you travel, you know, when you enter into a house, the first thing you give a visitor coffee beans, roasted coffee beans, and a quart of water. But think about it. If I walked from Blange today, in this heat, to this place, probably my mouth wouldn't be all that fresh.
Yeah.
Give someone the coffee beans to chew and to
Freshen up.
quart of water, and the mouth will be so fresh. Try it. You will pay me later. I know that young men, you know, when I went to Masaka last time, I went to Maogola last month for the coffee campaign, the Mwantelima campaign. And young people there were telling me they chew the roasted coffee beans for other reasons other than refreshing their mouths. They say it is good for them. I told them, no, you don't need that. What you need is just money in your pocket so that you're in the right frame of mind. Everything will be all right. If you work hard and you have some money,
If you don't get it,
the Mwantelima program is intended to reverse the iniquities that are associated with poverty. The program originally encompassed 4 initiatives. 1, repopularizing growing coffee. We would go into the villages and stand there and tell people to grow coffee. You know, we went with seedlings as well. We visited coffee farmers and advised them on the best farming practices. That was the second initiative. The third initiative was participation in the value addition chains, which incidentally starts at the stage of planting through harvesting and processing. Value addition doesn't start with Benetti. Have you ever heard of a lake called Benetti?
yes.
That's not where value addition starts. It starts when you're planting the seedling. The fourth was joining the coffee markets and the consumers, which envisages exporting to big European, American, and Asian markets they've started taking a lot of coffee in China and in India. I hope you can advise India and move away from the British things of and come coffee. By the way, the Indians are the ones who taught the British about tea. So when people talk about English tea, they're not saying the truth. It should be Indian tea. Clap for him. At the moment, the program is focused on 4 areas. 1, popularizing coffee farming among women and the youth. I see a number of women here. Grow coffee, ladies. You will not regret it. Yes, thank you very much. 2, encouraging irrigation and mechanized farming. If you have 5 acres of coffee, you can buy these small tractors, the hand tractors, the hand-driven tractors. They're not expensive. They'll help you stop worrying about laborers. I went to a place during the dry season like now, and they had organized a novena for rain. Catholics know about novenas. They call it novena in Uganda. It's called novena. But I'm speaking English, right? So they organized a novena for rain. And I told them, God only helps those who help themselves. What are the ditches you've done to collect the water, to harvest the water? First dig a hole 9 feet down, then pray for the rain. What if God gives you rain for only 2 days? Where will you keep that water? They said, Katikiro, organize them. 4th, 3rd, repopularizing the cooperatives. You know, exploiting the synergies of the coffee industry. And 4th, popularizing coffee drinking. Now, let me tell you this. I don't know whether you know it. In the villages, the ladies believe that if they take coffee, they are going to experience dry seasons. I don't know where that myth came from.
Come for us today.
But many ladies are nervous about taking coffee, lest it doesn't rain. I don't know why they worry about that so much. Yes. And then people believe that coffee consumption is going to make them hypertensive. Hypertension. That's not true. Doctors don't agree with that. Hypertension is caused by so many other things. Some of them genetic. Some of them, like your employees, Manoj, they don't do physical exercises. And they get high blood pressure. You know? And all sorts of myths about coffee drinking. When you produce something and you are the market, it becomes very easy for you. Uganda is the 5th largest grower of bananas. We don't have a problem with the market because we consume them. We consume them at all. In the world, we are the 5th. But because we consume them, we are not worried about the market. That's what we are doing right now. We want women to grow coffee and the young people. Women, when they participate in an economic activity, it always yields results. There is something about women and girls. That's why I want the women, all in the villages, to have their own separate shambas. They will care for them and they care for their husband's shamba as well. That's how it works with ladies. They don't get carried away by little things. Unlike us. Something happened to this guy. They concentrate.
It's okay, well done.
Also, women have these things. But under the Maintaining Bar program, we highlight coffee, as you know. But other crops like matoke, maize, beans, sweet potatoes, cassava, and rearing animals are also covered. And what is interesting is that even without much prompting, someone who grows coffee is likely to grow food crops, or even practice animal husbandry on his own. What we notice when we visit the coffee farmers in the villages is that they also have sufficient quantities of food. Their children look happy and healthy, and they take them to good schools without much prompting. Presently, we encourage farmers to improve the quality of their homesteads. We advise anyone with a reasonable harvest to pave their compounds. I visited their home last month. The man harvested, I think 10 tons of cassette, 10 tons. This unit is making compilations right now. But it's estimated that in the last 3 or 4 years, the Montaniba campaign has created 600,000 jobs. Wow. I'll come back and tell you the actual figures when the compilations are done. But I think they are quite impressive. So as you know, hope has been our most potent force. That's what I preached during the Top-Up campaign. That's what I preach even now. And our central message everywhere we have been is the retention of hope. And as we may be aware, our mind controls our thought process. And then our thoughts are depicted by the actions we take. If one believes one cannot succeed or achieve something, they won't even try it out. The most decorated athletes aren't the most talented all the time. But those who dare to win, or as Barack Obama wrote, those who have the audacity of hope, those are the ones who win. So at every opportunity we preached hope. We still preach hope. I preach hope to you as well. But a mind filled with hope must reside in a healthy body.
The future is bright.
It's defeatist. Tell people to retain hope when their bodies are afflicted by diseases. So in 2014, we started the Kabaka's Birthday Run. The run is part of the annual celebrations of the Kabaka's birthday. However, it pleased His Majesty that we identify a health theme to accompany the birthday run. So, ladies and gentlemen, the third memorable impact is to be found in the efforts we have put in promoting the health of the people of Uganda. That's the third one. And if you do the last, I'll talk about. We cannot experience mindset change or make people grow coffee unless they are in good physical state. We invited Airtel to join us the very first time we started the Kabaka's birthday run. Thank Remy Chisache for me. Because Airtel took a leap of faith and accepted the invitation. The first run was graced by slightly more than 10,000 people. This year, 10 years down the road, we had 100,000 strong. The largest run on the African continent. And here it is, the most paid-for royal event in the whole of Africa. It gives me much pleasure therefore to be here with Airtel as I mark 10 years in the office of Katikiro at the invitation of a partner who has a nose that always smells the coffee. We leverage the tremendous love the people have for the Kabaka to enlist a positive response to our call the public to participate in the run. From 2014, 2015, 2016, our focus was on fistula. From 2016, 2017, and 2017, we turned to the sickle cell disease. From 2018, 2019, 2020, and from 2021, 2021, 2023, are battling HIV/AIDS. Given Kabaka's soft power, which effectively mobilizes the people of Uganda, and Ugandans as well, UNAIDS named him the Goodwill Ambassador in East and Central Africa in 2017. in the fight against HIV. But after witnessing the outcome of Kabaka's efforts against HIV/AIDS, they requested His Majesty to be the goodwill ambassador for the entire African continent in 2023, a responsibility that the Kabakas accepted. Presently, our focus is on women in the fight against HIV/AIDS, because it's you men looking at me. In most cases that make approaches the woman, but a relationship that has potential to spread the virus. It's mainly the men. You tell them how beautiful they are, how they smell good and all these things. You take them out for coffee and the bitters. And you know what happens. And we want the men to be at the forefront against the fight against HIV, to save the girl child. Why? Because if you take out a girl, I mean the men working for Airtel, you take out a young girl. I mean, let's look at it in practical terms. You take out the drink. What do you call it these days? You send her some money. That's what you call it. She makes her hair over the weekend. She tells you she's going to Mukono to see her mother. You send her some money so that she buys her mother some meat. How is she going to tell you to protect yourselves when the moment comes? Not likely. Because you are like, you know, she depends on you, doesn't she, in many ways. So be man enough and, you know, protect yourself and protect her, protect, in the process, protect your female relatives, your sisters and sengas and all of them. If the men take the mantle, the battle will be won. Because in underdeveloped communities like Uganda, the world pretty much belongs to us, the men. So it must be our initiative. But look here, ladies, especially smart ladies like you, tell the man to, to stand up. Why do you take a risk? This is why I tell people, I traverse, I go to the islands. Because, the spread of HIV in the islands has been so rampant. So they told me the Kabaka wanted me to go to the islands, and I went. And this is what I told them. I'm going to tell it to you today. And it is best said in Uganda, because most of you understand it anyway. And then somebody will translate for Manoj. Saying, omusujja gw'ensiri tukwata twebase kubanga ensiri ekuluma weebase naye sirimu akwata ng'ebiso likamudde biringa yange. So you see how easy it is to prevent HIV as opposed to malaria. Now the men who are going to style up should clap really, they should. So together with UNAIDS, we target an HIV-free Uganda in 7 years' time. We don't want to talk about HIV/AIDS in 7 years from today, 2030. According to UNAIDS report of 2022, there has been a decrease of more than 50% in new HIV infections in Uganda in the last 5 years. And while there is still a sizable number of people carrying the virus, and while about 1.5 million people become infected every year, there was a reduction in new HIV infections, reflecting a 54% drop since the peak in 1996. So it has been effective. Regarding fistula, in many villages, women suffering from fistula used to hide themselves out of embarrassment caused by the permanent stench they emitted, and also because of stigma. We explained that fistula was caused by infections after the tearing of intestinal and vaginal muscles, as mothers pushed babies out of the womb. Many of the mothers were found to have become pregnant a little earlier than their bodies were mature enough to carry babies. So we partnered with Stoke Hospital, and over 10,000 women were treated for fistula during the time of that period. But so many more have received treatment, especially after learning that the disease is curable. Regarding sickle cell, there is an estimated 33,000 babies born annually with the disease, and 80% of those die before the age of 5, according to the statistics from the Ministry of Health. In Uganda, statistics show that 21% of the people have traces of the disease. In some areas, families with sickle cell carriers, or sicklers themselves, were believed to have a curse, and women born in those families found it hard to find men to marry them. This myth has kept declining given our efforts, and the churches and mosques now are urged to ensure that the couples are tested, because if you're both carriers, you're likely to get sicklers. And perhaps you still remember our role in mobilizing the people of Uganda and the rest of Ugandans to get vaccinated against COVID-19, get vaccinated against Ebola, immunization of children, the health camps we regularly hold, and many more. And in 2020, the Kabaka Foundation collected 100,000 units of blood, which was the highest quantity of blood collected in the entire world that year. We were given an award by the international body, which was collected from Phoenix, Arizona, and the USA by the CEO of Kabaka Foundation. At the moment, nearly 150,000 units of blood have been collected. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I wind up, considering that my time is up as well, the question must be asked: how is it possible to have such memorable impacts? In my opinion, and it's a humble opinion, these are some of the reasons we have registered reasonable success in the areas I've talked about. The first is trust. Trust. Leaders must not only be honest, but they must be seen to be honest. An honest leader is one who understands problems or challenges that those he leads face, and he offers such solutions as are deemed to benefit the ordinary person. If the solutions are not right, people will know that these are vague solutions. They will know. You'll be surprised, even the villagers, the peasants will know. They will understand that these solutions are fake when you're not honest. And I'll give you an example. When you tell people to have Omusirigwa Kabaka, the people understand that initiative is for food security. They know that the Kabaka will never come harvest their sweet potatoes. So they will hit the call to have a garden to take care of the dry season. Trust must run through all levels of leadership. The Kabaka is trusted. And that trust must be maintained and sustained at all levels in order to have impactful initiatives. And, we try to maintain ethos of trust. 2, engagements. Leaders must understand what happens amongst the people they lead. Leaders must be seen to understand what people experience every day. You remember the Queen of France who told people to eat cakes if there was no bread? Even some leaders here are accused of certain things which I won't talk about. I think she was out of touch with reality. Engagement. Leaders must not be detached. They may be working from Blange, but they ought to be near the people. They need to be seen as partners who understand the goings-on and thus have capacity to offer genuine solutions. We try to keep in touch with the people. We visit them all the time, as much as possible. We also receive them intermittently in our administrative outposts. I always receive the Airtel teams in my office. We participate with them to the extent possible anyway, in their community and social issues. When you're a leader and people have got something to celebrate, you should be with them. When they're sad, you should be with them. You should stand with them. You should rejoice with them when they're happy. You should commiserate with them when they're experiencing sad moments. The third reason why this has been possible, in my humble opinion, are the strategic partnerships. Identifying strategic partners is of paramount importance. Our partnerships with Airtel, for example, have promoted health causes. Hello? Yes, our partnerships with Airtel have promoted health causes. They have created jobs, for sure. They've enabled us to scout talent in sports and generally bring support to our efforts in our engagement with people in many ways. A relationship like the one between Airtel Uganda and the Kingdom of Uganda has been significant in impacting the people of Buganda and of Uganda. Look at Ketu Telecom, it's powered by Airtel. Look at the biggest run on the African continent, the Kawaka's birthday run, powered by Airtel. Look at the most popular football tournament in the country, Masasa Cup, powered by Airtel. Look at the Grand Soccer Tournament, to which everyone relates. For as long as one is born in Uganda has got a clan, the Bika Football Tournament, powered by Airtel. Airtel has been a reliable partner for 10 years now. And yes, we need to make our partnership stronger for both our benefit. You know, I was telling the executives of Airtel that we are the biggest brand in East Africa, as the Kingdom of Uganda. True story. True story. So when you associate with the biggest brand in the region, you make the partnership strong. You understand this? New proposals. Finally, I wish to say that leadership isn't mere about occupying a position. No. Some leaders stay long and they may not create effective impact. Others use their positions to cause growth in a company, in an organization, or in the community, creating memorable impact